The shuttle moved quietly through dark space, its blue lights shining like small stars. Inside, Elias sat alone in the pilot's seat. He was the first human cadet ever chosen by the Alien Academy for a deep world mission. His hands rested on his knees and his heart beat fast, not from fear but from curiosity. Outside the window, a strange planet grew larger with every second. It was covered in thick clouds that glowed faintly green. The Academy had called it a no-return world. Many explorers before him had failed to send back clear data. Their signals had vanished, and the planet had remained a mystery. Some said it was too unstable. Others said its environment could not be understood. Elias had listened to the warnings, but they did not scare him. To him, the planet looked like a puzzle waiting to be solved. A calm voice filled the shuttle. Landing sequence started. Atmospheric pressure unknown. Proceed with caution. Elias took a slow breath. Understood, he said softly. His voice echoed inside the small cabin. The shuttle passed through the glowing clouds. Wind shook the sides and the lights dimmed for a moment. Then everything became quiet. The craft touched the ground with a gentle sound, as if it had landed on soft sand. Elias waited for danger. Nothing happened. He opened the hatch carefully. Warm air rushed inside, carrying a strange smell like rain mixed with metal. The sky above him was not blue or black. It was silver, moving slowly like liquid glass. Tall plants surrounded the landing site. Their leaves were wide and thin, and they shone like polished stone. Elias stepped out and placed his boot on the soil. It felt firm but smooth, almost like wet clay. His suit sensors began to collect data. Temperature was stable. Oxygen level was safe. Gravity was normal. This place is calm, he whispered. He activated the small camera attached to his chest. It was meant for research logs, but Elias used it like a personal diary. Mission log day 1, he said. I have landed. The planet does not look hostile. It feels quiet. He walked forward slowly. Each step made a soft sound on the ground. In the distance he heard water. The sound was gentle, like many small bells ringing together. He followed it. Soon he reached a wide river. The water was clear and glowing faintly blue. Shapes moved beneath the surface, but he could not tell what they were. The riverbanks were covered with smooth stones that looked like glass. Elias sat down near the edge. He removed one glove and touched the air above the water. It was warm. He felt safe enough to stay for a moment. This world was called a death zone, he said to the camera, but I don't see death. I see life. A soft vibration passed through the ground. Elias froze. The water in the river formed small waves. Something large moved beneath the surface. His heart beat faster, but he did not run. He stood still and watched. The water rose slightly, then settled again. Whatever had moved stayed hidden. The river returned to its calm state. Elias slowly sat back down. Maybe the planet is just shy, he said with a small smile. He took out a simple food pack and opened it. As he ate, he kept watching the river. The shapes under the water moved again, slower this time. They did not come close. They seemed to be watching him as much as he watched them. Above him, the silver sky changed color. Thin lines of light crossed it like moving clouds. The plants around him reacted, turning their leaves toward the sky. The whole land seemed to breathe together. Elias recorded everything. He spoke in short sentences, keeping his words clear. The environment reacts to light. The river may contain large life forms. No sign of attack behavior. His mission was not to fight or escape. It was to observe, to learn, to bring back knowledge. After some time, he returned to the shuttle to set up a small research station. He placed sensors around the landing area and powered them on. Soft lights blinked as they started collecting data. The planet did not resist his presence. It accepted it. Elias stood at the doorway of the shuttle and looked across the strange land. He felt small but not alone. This place was not empty. It was full of unseen stories. I was sent here because no one else could come back, he said quietly. Maybe they were looking in the wrong way. The wind moved through the tall plants, making a low humming sound. It was almost like music. As night came, the sky darkened into deep violet. Tiny lights appeared in the air, floating like slow fireflies. The river glowed brighter, lighting the ground around it. Elias watched in silence, his face calm but his eyes wide with wonder. He uploaded his first report. The signal was weak, but it reached the stars. This is Elias, he said. The world is alive. I will continue to explore. He turned off the camera and sat near the shuttle, listening to the river and the wind. The no-return world did not look like a place of endings. It looked like a place of beginnings. Morning light spread across the silver sky like a slow fire. Elias stood near the river, holding his small camera in one hand and a thin fishing line in the other. The water moved gently, but something deep inside it felt awake. He could sense it. He spoke softly to the camera. Mission log. Day 2. The river is not empty. I believe a large life form lives here. A low sound rolled through the water. The surface shook and wide circles spread outward. Elias's breath caught in his chest. Then it rose. A massive shape broke through the river, lifting its head into the glowing air. Its skin was dark blue with lines of light running along its body like stars. 2 large eyes looked at Elias, calm but powerful. Water streamed from its face as it stayed half above the river. Elias stepped back once. His heart pounded so hard he thought the creature could hear it. Easy, easy, he whispered, raising his free hand slowly. The creature did not attack. It only watched him. Its breathing was slow and the river stayed still around it. For a long moment, neither moved. Elias swallowed. You are real, he said quietly. You're beautiful. The creature made a deep sound, not loud but strong like a low drum. It turned slightly, showing its full size. It was longer than the shuttle and wide as a small ship. Fear touched Elias's mind, but curiosity was stronger. He remembered the food pack in his pocket. Slowly, he took out a small piece and placed it on the edge of the water. I won't hurt you, he said. This is just food. He stepped back. The creature lowered its head and moved closer. Its mouth opened, revealing rows of smooth, flat teeth. It took the food gently from the stone. Then it lifted its head again and watched Elias. Elias let out a shaky breath. You're not a monster, he said. You're just a neighbor. The creature sank back into the river but did not leave. Its glowing lines stayed visible beneath the water, circling near him. Elias sat down slowly on a rock. He began setting up the fishing line, more to test the water than to catch anything. The line dropped into the glowing river and small waves formed around it. The creature rose again, closer now. Elias froze. I don't want to fight you, he said. I just want to learn. The creature tilted its head as if listening. A small fish-like shape jumped from the water near Elias's line. The creature moved fast and caught it with one smooth motion. Then it placed the fish on the stone in front of Elias. Elias stared. You brought me one? The creature made a soft sound and stepped back into the river. Emotion filled Elias's chest. His eyes burned, but he smiled. Thank you. He lifted the fish carefully and showed it to the camera. This world gives gifts, he said. And it gives friends. From that moment, the creature stayed near him. When Elias walked along the river, it followed beneath the water. When he sat, it rose beside him. He named it Nox because of its glowing lines that shone brightest in low light. Later, dark clouds formed above the river. Wind rushed through the tall plants, bending them low. The water began to move faster. Nox lifted its head and made a warning sound. What is it? Elias asked. The river suddenly dropped, pulling water away from the shore. A deep shadow appeared beneath the surface. Something else was moving there, larger and faster. Nox placed itself between Elias and the dark water. Elias stepped back. His hands shook. You're protecting me? The shadow rushed forward, breaking the surface for 1 second. A long shape with sharp fins cut through the air, then vanished again. The river roared. Elias ran toward his shuttle but stopped when he saw Nox rise fully from the water, its glowing lines flashing bright blue. It struck the river with its tail, sending a wave across the shore. The shadow disappeared into the depths. Silence returned. Elias stood frozen, breathing hard. Nox slowly turned toward him. Its eyes were calm again. You saved me, Elias whispered. The creature moved closer and touched the ground near Elias's boots with its head. The contact was gentle. Elias reached out and touched its skin. It felt warm and smooth. His fear faded. He turned on the camera again, his voice full of emotion. The creature of this river is not my enemy. It is my companion. We protect each other. As the sky darkened, Elias sat beside Nox and recorded the glowing water and their quiet moment together. The scene looked like a dream, human and beast sharing the same silence. Far away, the signal traveled through space. The alien academy received a strange image, a human fishing beside a giant glowing creature. And for the first time, the no-return world showed its true face, not as a place of death but as a place of connection. Inside the great hall of the alien academy, screens covered the curved walls like windows into space. Scholars and commanders gathered in silence as a weak signal flickered to life. The image was unclear at first, shaking and filled with light from an unknown sky. Then the picture sharpened. A human stood beside a glowing river. Next to him was a massive creature, its body marked with lines of blue light. The two were calm. The human held a fishing line. The creature stayed close like a silent guard. Gasps filled the hall. "That is impossible," one scientist whispered. "He should not be alive," another said. "The planet destroys every probe we send." The director of the academy stepped forward. Her long silver eyes did not blink. "Play the audio." The room filled with Elias's voice from the recording. "The river is safe today," he said. "My companion watches the water. We share food. We share time." A wave of disbelief moved through the crowd. "A companion?" a commander said sharply. "That thing is a Class 5 life form." "It did not attack," a young researcher replied. "Look at its movement. It mirrors his." On the screen, the creature placed a fish on the stone beside Elias. The human laughed softly and thanked it. Silence returned to the hall, heavy and uneasy. The director raised her hand. "Pause the image." The screen froze on Elias's face, smiling beside the glowing beast. "How can this be?" she asked. "The world was marked as unstable and hostile. Yet he lives in peace." A senior scientist stepped forward. "Maybe the danger is hidden. The creature could be part of a trap." Another voice answered, full of emotion. "Or maybe the planet was never our enemy. Maybe we never learned how to look." The hall broke into arguments. Some demanded an immediate rescue mission. Others wanted to cut the signal, fearing unknown influence from the planet. "He could be under control," one officer said. "The world may be using him." "No," said the young researcher. "His heart rate shows calm. His words show choice." The director studied the frozen image again. "Send a message," she ordered. A technician activated the transmitter. "Signal ready." The director spoke slowly. "Elias, this is the Alien Academy. Do you hear us?" For a moment there was only static. Then Elias's voice returned, faint but clear. "I hear you." Relief passed through the hall. "You are alive," the director said. "I am," Elias answered. "And I am not alone." The screen moved again. Elias turned the camera toward the river. The glowing creature lifted its head. A low sound came from the creature's throat. The crowd stepped back in fear. "Control it," one commander shouted. "Tell it to leave." Elias shook his head. "It protects the river. It protects me. There is balance here." "Balance?" the director asked. "Yes," Elias said. "This world reacts to thought and motion. The creature is part of the system. I think the planet is alive in a way we do not understand." The room filled with whispers. A scientist spoke carefully. "If the planet is aware, then our past missions failed because we treated it like an object." Elias nodded. "I did not come to take. I came to watch. And it welcomed me." Suddenly the signal shook. The image blurred. "Elias," the director said sharply. "What is happening?" The sky behind Elias darkened. Lines of light moved fast above him. "The air is changing," Elias said. "Something is forming in the clouds." The creature moved closer to him, its glowing lines brightening. "Return to your shuttle," a commander ordered. "Now." Elias hesitated. "If I leave, the river will change. The creature is afraid." A deep sound rolled across the screen like thunder. The hall trembled with tension. "Elias," the director said, her voice softer now. "Your life matters more than data." Elias looked at the creature, then back at the camera. "This world trusted me first. I cannot abandon it." The signal weakened again. The screen showed waves rising in the river and light moving through the sky. "He's going to lose contact," the technician warned. "Boost the signal," the director said. Elias's face appeared one last time, serious but calm. "Do not send ships yet. You will scare it. Let me learn. Let me show you another way." The screen went dark. For a long moment no one spoke. The young researcher broke the silence. "He just changed everything." The director turned to the council. "Prepare a full observation team. Not a rescue fleet. A listening fleet." Some officers protested. "We should control the situation." "We already lost control," she replied. "Now we must understand." She looked again at the frozen image of a human and a glowing creature beside a river. "The no-return world has spoken," she said, through one human voice. Outside the hall, stars burned quietly. Inside, the academy faced a truth that shook its foundation. The planet was not a prison of death. It was a test of trust. And one human had passed it. The sky changed without warning. Elias stood near the river, adjusting a sensor when the silver clouds above him twisted into dark spirals. Light broke into sharp lines, flashing across the sky like cracks in glass. The air became heavy, pressing against his chest. Nox lifted its head from the water and gave a low warning sound. Elias felt it in his bones. Something was wrong. "What is happening?" he whispered. The wind rose suddenly, bending the tall glowing plants until they touched the ground. The river began to pull inward as if the water itself was afraid. Small stones slid toward the center of the current. A deep hum filled the air. Elias looked up. A shape formed inside the clouds. It was not solid, not fully light. It looked like a giant moving shadow with glowing edges, drifting slowly downward. His heart pounded. "That's not a storm." The shape released a pulse of light. The ground shook. Elias fell to one knee. Nox rushed forward and placed its body between Elias and the sky. Its glowing lines flashed bright blue, brighter than ever before. "Nox, don't!" Elias shouted. The creature answered with a strong cry and struck the water with its tail. The river sent a wave of light upward, meeting the dark shape in the clouds. For a moment, the sky and river touched in a burst of color. The shadow paused. Elias stared in shock. "You can fight the sky?" Another pulse came down, closer this time. The air burned with strange heat. Elias's equipment sparked and shut down. His communicator crackled. A weak voice pushed through the noise. "Elias, this is the Academy, do you read us?" "I read you," he shouted. "There is something in the sky. It's attacking the environment." On the other end, the director's voice trembled. "We see energy storms forming around your position." "This is not just weather," Elias said. "It is reacting to the planet. Like a living force." The shadow split into 3 moving shapes. They drifted lower, pulling light from the clouds around them. The plants near Elias turned dark and closed their leaves. Nox roared and rose fully from the river. Its body glowed like a burning star. Elias stood beside it, his fear turning into strength. "I won't leave you alone." The shadow dropped a beam of light into the river. The water boiled and flashed. Nox cried out in pain. "No." Elias ran toward the river's edge. "Stop." He raised his hands toward the sky, not knowing why. "This world is not yours to break." The beam stopped. The shadow froze. The wind slowed. Elias breathed hard, staring upward. "It listens." The shapes in the sky moved in circles above him. A voice filled the air, not with sound but with feeling. Elias felt it inside his mind like pressure. "You do not belong." His legs shook. "I belong where life is," he said aloud. The voice pressed again. "Balance is broken." Nox stepped beside him and touched the ground with its head. The river glowed brighter, spreading light across the land. Elias understood something new. "You are not an enemy," he said to the sky. "You are a guard." The shadow paused. He spoke slowly. "The planet is changing because I am here. But I am not here to harm it. I am here to learn." The wind eased. The 3 shapes merged into one and lifted higher into the clouds. The river calmed. The plants opened their leaves again. Nox lowered its head and made a soft sound. Elias dropped to his knees, shaking. Tears filled his eyes. "I thought we were going to die." His communicator lit up again. "Elias," the director called. "What happened?" "I spoke to it," he said. "The sky force protects the planet's balance. It thought I was danger." "And now?" she asked. "And now it knows I am not." The signal suddenly grew stronger. The Academy screens showed Elias standing beside Nox under a calmer sky. A scientist whispered, "The planet has 2 guardians. The river and the sky." Elias looked at the clouds again. "There is more here than life forms. There is a system of minds." Another sound echoed across the land. The shadow in the sky released a final wave of light, not harmful this time but soft and wide. It spread across the planet like a blessing. Nox lowered its body into the river again. Elias sat on a stone, weak but alive. "You protected me," he said to Nox. The creature touched the water gently, then looked at the sky. Elias turned on his camera, his hands still shaking. "This world has another guardian," he said. "Not of flesh but of light. It defends the balance of this planet. It tested me." He looked into the lens. "If others come with fear, the sky will answer with force. If they come with respect, the planet will answer with peace." Night fell slowly. The clouds became silver again. Stars appeared through thin gaps. Elias and Nox sat beside the glowing river, both watching the sky. Far above, the shadow shape remained, quiet and distant, no longer a threat but a watcher. And for the first time, Elias knew the no-return world was not only alive below the water. It was alive above it too. The shuttle door closed with a soft echo. Elias stood inside, his hands shaking as the engines began to rise from the glowing ground. Outside the window, the river shone like a ribbon of light. Knox stood at the edge of the water, watching him. Elias pressed his hand against the glass. "I will come back," he whispered. "I promise." Knox lifted its head and made a deep, gentle sound. The sky above them glowed once, as if answering. The shuttle moved upward. Clouds of silver light surrounded it. Elias felt his chest tighten as the planet grew smaller beneath him. He was leaving something alive behind. Something that trusted him. When the stars appeared again, his communicator flashed with new signals. "Elias, you are clear," the director's voice said. "We see you. You are returning home." He closed his eyes for a moment. "I'm coming back with more than data," he replied. "I'm bringing a message." The journey felt long, but his mind stayed on the river, the sky, and the creature that had become his friend. He replayed the recordings again and again. Not as proof but as memory. When the shuttle reached the Academy station, bright lights filled the window. Ships hovered around the platform like silent guards. Doors opened. Air rushed inside. Elias stepped out slowly. The great hall was full. Scientists, officers, and students stood in lines. Screens showed the image of Knox beside the glowing river. Whispers moved through the crowd. "That's him? He survived. He walked with a living world." The director approached him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of emotion. "Welcome back, Elias." He bowed his head. "Thank you." They led him to the center of the hall. The room became quiet. The director raised her hand. "Speak." Elias took a breath. His voice was steady but full of feeling. "You sent me to a world you believed could not be understood. I found that it was not empty. It was watching us." A screen showed the Sky Guardian forming in light above the river. "The planet has its own balance," he continued. "The river protects life below. The sky protects life above." They reacted to fear. They reacted to force. But when I came with calm, they answered with trust. A commander stepped forward. "Are you saying the world thinks?" Elias nodded. "Not like us, but it feels change. It feels harm. It feels intent." The hall stirred. Another voice called out, "Why did it let you leave?" Elias looked down for a moment. "Because I promised to return with respect. And because I did not take anything from it." I listened. Silence followed. Then the director spoke again. "You sent a fishing vlog." The galaxy laughed. "But now the galaxy is listening." She turned to the council. "We must change its status." A screen flashed new words. "Protected world, living system." A wave of sound filled the hall. Fear. Hope. Elias felt his eyes burn. He had not expected this. Later, in a quiet room, Elias sat alone and recorded one last message. His camera light blinked softly. "This is Elias," he said. "I was sent to a place of no return. I came back because the world showed me another way to see." He paused and looked at the image of Knox on the screen. "I did not conquer the planet. I did not escape it. I learned from it." The message spread across stations and cities. People watched a human sitting beside a glowing river with a giant creature. They heard his calm voice. They saw the skylight rise and fall like breath. The galaxy began to change how it spoke about unknown worlds. Not as threats. Not as prizes. But as lives. Days later, Elias stood on a viewing deck. A small ship waited behind him. It was not a mission ship. It was a listening ship. The director joined him. "We will send observers," she said. "No weapons. No control." He nodded. "That is what the planet asked for." She studied him. "Will you go back?" Elias looked at the stars. "Yes." "Not as a cadet. As a bridge." The ship doors opened. Light spilled across the floor. Before entering, Elias turned back and raised his camera once more. "This is not the end," he said softly. "This is the beginning of a different story." Far away on the glowing river, Knox lifted its head as if feeling something in the air. The sky above the planet shone with gentle lines of light. The world waited, not for fear, not for invasion, but for understanding. And in the silence between stars, one human message traveled forward. Life does not always need to be challenged. Sometimes it only needs to be heard.